Welcome back to Julie's Wreath Boutique. Today we're going to make a rainbow inspired flower. And the reason why I want to make this for you all was because right now we're going through a very difficult time. It's April of 2020. We are going through the coronavirus, and I am in a group on Facebook called Rainbows Over Michigan because I live in the state of Michigan. And everybody is encouraging people to put rainbows in their windows and just to kind of encourage people when they're out taking walks with their families. And I thought, you know what, I've wanted to make a rainbow wreath for quite a while. And so I wanted to share this with you. I hope you enjoyed this process. We did a few things differently on this wreath, so please pay attention because that's not my standard placements. So I wanted to kind of go over, this is 10-inch poly burlap mesh that I use for all colors. You could use like the ends of some of your rolls that you may have extra of, but let's go over the placements of the petals. You're going to need 15 red, 10 orange, 10 yellow, 8 of the green, 6 of the blue, and then 36 inches cut of the purple. So let's get started, and I hope you enjoy this rainbow flower. So let's get started with making our wreath. Now let's talk about what we're going to use. I'm going to use, so this does not mean that you need to use this, but I'm going to use 10-inch poly burlap mesh. And the reason why I'm going to use it is because I have all the colors for a rainbow wreath in the poly burlap. Now, if I had some fabric mesh, and this is what fabric mesh looks like, okay? So you can kind of see the difference here, all right? I would maybe try the fabric mesh. I think it's really nice, and I do know that Trendy Tree does have a lot of different colors right now. And then the other option you could do is just a Deco mesh. Now I know this isn't the right yellow, but you can kind of see that's a little bit more see-through. So that's a Deco mesh. Here's a fabric mesh. See how it gets a little darker? And then that is a poly burlap. So this is more plastic. This has plastic and fabric in it. And then this is, oh, you guys would have to help me. There's a name for this and I can't think of it right now. But those are your options, okay? So what we're gonna work with is the 10-inch poly burlap. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut out each color, and I'm gonna start out with 15 cuts for the red, and I don't know that we're gonna use all those, but we're gonna start off with that. And I'm going to use my wood burner. If you've seen me do this before, you know that there's a piece of glass right here. And this is my rotary cutter mat. And this is all, of course, in my Amazon shop, and the link will be in the description box below. So I'm just going to cut first here to give a nice edge in between the lines. And what this wood burner does for you, it does help eliminate, it does not get rid of. It helps, let's say it helps reduce the amount of fraying. And so it's really important if you do use a pair of scissors or a rotary cutter, you will have quite a bit of fraying, and you just need to be prepared for that. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to get my mesh all cut up here, my poly burlap mesh, and I will be back for the next step. Okay, so the next step is we're going to take a 10-inch frame. We're going to take some of this plastic canvas. You guys ask me a lot about this, and I know in some videos I talk about it a little bit more than others. But this will be found in your local craft store with your yarn and embroidery section. And this is the 5 mesh. It just means that there's 5 squares per inch. So what I'm going to do is I just draw a circle here around the frame, and then I'm going to cut that out, and then I will attach it to this wire with zip ties. So we're going to start, and we're going to do this a little differently because of how many colors of petals that we want to get into this wreath, because I'm wanting to keep that look of red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and then purple. So I'm wanting to keep it that look. You could do this with the traditional 3 rows and just variegate your petals, but we're not going to do that for this one. I'm also going to tell you that I'm using a 10-inch wreath frame, and I know that these might be a little hard to find right now in April of 2020, but I do have them in my Amazon affiliate shop as well. I think they were like, I want to say they were like $3 a frame. I do like to order from consumercrafts.com as well, but of course they are out of stock. So if you need to use a bigger frame, just know that you're going to need more mesh, okay? The petal size does not change here. It just means that you're gonna need more mesh. So let's get started, and I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do for the first row of red. We're gonna use 15 petals, and this is probably the most we're gonna use for this row. We might use 15 of the orange, but I'm not really sure yet. So what I normally would tell you is I would say, let's work on wire 2. So you have wire 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to work on wire 1. And a lot of times you guys wonder, why don't you use that wire? And today I'm going to show you how to use that wire. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the standard petal that I show you how to do, okay? You've got your finished edge here, finished edge up there. We're going to come in the middle. We're going to gather and make our little bow tie, flip it over, and then make our petal, okay? So there you go. That's your first petal. So what I'm going to do is I want this to be inside of the frame so that we get I want it to be secure. So let me just show you what I mean here. I'm going to just put it on here. Now, because, all right, that little wire bracket is in the way, it's not really, you can't tuck in the little nose of your petal underneath if you put it on it. So we're going to put it beside it, okay? So see how that it will still lay nice and underneath, but it will give us a little bit extra space so that we can do the outside, okay? So let's do that one more time. Okay, so I'm going to have my zip tie ready. I'm going to just make my petal here really quickly. It's so simple. I'm going to flip it over. You got your bow tie and you've got your simple petal, okay? You're going to pinch it at the nose of the petal, and I'm just going to simply kind of go in there. Do you see that? I just kind of tuck it in there. And then I'm going to take my zip tie and I'm going to secure it with my zip tie. All right. See what I did? See how the zip tie is going on the back of the wire frame there? All right, so we've got that. Let's do one more. So we're going to do 3 per section. So if you were using a 12-inch frame, I think it has 6 sections, so you would do 18 of these petals. So, and if your sections are different sizes, all that matters is that because I know there's different frames and they might not have as many brackets, you just need to stagger everything out, okay? You just need to be intentional about how many you stagger. Maybe you have an extra petal than I do. That's okay. Maybe you have one less. That's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another one here. And then, so as long as you get 3 per section, and actually this one is on this side, so that would go for this side. So we need 2 more on this side. So I'm being really confusing. I'm sorry. But let me just show you. Here's our sections. You need 3, 3, 3, 3, and 3. Okay? So I'm going to finish this up and we'll come back and we'll start with the orange. Okay, so we have all of the red in that first bracket. Again, this is a little different than I normally do it. So make sure that you pay attention to what we're doing here because this will make a difference in the way our petals will lay and how many we're going to put on. So we're going to go with the orange and we're going to do the daisy petal by Dean Michael Designs, and I will leave her link below. And so all you're going to do is we're going to take our piece of mesh and I'm going to fold it over. And with this one, I want the finished sides right and left here. And I'm going to fold it over and I'm going to take the bottom and just gather it, okay? And then you're just going to shape your petal. I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it on the bracket. So if you see, here's the bracket. I'm going to put it in between and we're going to put it on the second bar. So this is a little different than what we normally do. So, all right, so I'm going to put it right here. Oops, lost it here. Okay, make sure you make that nice and taut. Okay, all right. And then I'm going to put another one over here on this bracket. Again, it's on the bracket in between the 2 wires. And we're going to see if we can get away with one in between. I'm not sure that we can. And if we can't, that's okay. We'll use extra. I'm just trying to use, you know, this is a good project if you have like a roll of red that's at the towards the end, a roll of orange, so forth. The red we're going to use the most of. We did use 15 petals, but you know, if you used an 8-inch wreath frame, you wouldn't need 15. You would only need, let's see, 12 petals. So the wreath frame does make a big decision on how big or how much mesh you need. So if you're wanting to save money, or maybe you don't have as much mesh, then consider using that 8-inch. Okay, so let's see. Yep, I think that'll be enough. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to go through on that bar 2, and we're just going to put it. So yeah, we're just going to do 10 petals on this row. So all you would need is 10 of the orange. All right. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to put one here, one on the brackets, one in between, and so forth. And that will only be 10 petals. So I'll be right back. Okay. So let's go on to the next row. We're going to go to wire 3. And we are simply going to repeat the step that we just did with the orange, but with yellow. And we're going to go in between. And then this way we have extra here. And then this way it will kind of lay nicely in between those. So again, just take your petal. Let's move this over. And you're just going to make that triangle daisy petal. You're going to gather it at the bottom. If you would like to make these ahead of time and then just put a little zip tie or a little elastic or something, you could do that. But I'm going to just put it on here. So we've got the red was on the first wire, the orange is on the second, and now the yellow will go on wire 3. So we're just going to simply put 10 petals in between each of these, and this way the petals will lay nice. Okay, see how that lays right nicely in there, because we have a lot of colors here that we want to get in, so we just want to make sure that we have enough room to get all the colors in. So I'm going to just go and do each one of these and be back for the next color. Okay, so we have done the red, the orange, and the yellow. So now the next progression in our rainbow is green. So what we're going to do is, because the bottom of our petals are pretty much over that 4th bar there, I'm just simply going to put in my zip tie as close as I can get it in the mesh that I put in here by that 4th ring. Do you see what I'm talking about here? So here's your 4th ring. And so I'm just going to get it as close as I can. So it's about 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/2 an inch or so. So we're going to put our first petal there. And we're still going to keep doing the same exact method, okay? So you're going to make your little daisy petal that I've showed you how to do here. So we're just going to make it. And then we're going to just lay it, all right? So as you can see, everything is going to kind of come into this flower, all right? So we still have room to put the blue. The center of this flower is going to be purple. So that's where we're going to put that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep putting them through here. I'm thinking 8 will be enough, because we don't want to put too many petals in the middle, but we want to keep it the look of it the same. So I'm going to add the rest of the green, and then I'll be back with the blue. Okay, so we're back. And let's go over the amount of petals that we have done. So on the red, the bar 1, we did 15 petals. On the orange, we did 10, yellow 10, green 8, and on the blue, we're going to try to do 6 and see if we can get away with that. So here's what we're going to do. This is going to be a little bit trickier just because we're running out of room in that middle here. So I'm going to put my zip tie as close as I can put it to the edge of the existing green petals, okay? So I'm just gonna put my zip tie there. And again, you're gonna just keep doing the same petal. We're gonna keep doing the same thing. Now you could do this whole wreath with just the way I did the red petals if you'd like, but this is just the way that I wanted to do this one, and I think it'd be really pretty. So just make your petal, and I'm just gonna put it right down in there, okay? And this is going to be a little bit trickier, just so you know. You're going to kind of wrestle with the middle of this a little bit, and that's okay. So So there's the blue. I'm already loving the colors here. If you're on Facebook, I have a Facebook group called Wreath Creators and More. Would love to have you join. Make sure to check out the playlist in my YouTube channel. I have lots of videos. I have over 100 videos for you to watch. So there's so many different styles of flowers and different types of wreaths, or just arts and crafts projects in general. So make sure you check out the playlist. Make sure you subscribe as well, and hit that notification bell so you know when I'm making a video. So I'm just going to keep putting these in, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about how we're going to incorporate purple in the middle of this. So I'm getting excited. I really like the way that looks. It's just so pretty. And in the time that we're living in right now, I feel like we all could use a little bit of some rainbows. I know it's a struggle out there if you're just watching this at a later date. This is April of 2020, and we're all living through the pandemic. And so I wanted to, I don't know, just rainbows seem like a really good idea right now. So I've been wanting to make one of these wreaths for a very long time. And this is a great project if you have leftover mesh, fabric mesh, deco mesh, poly burlap. You could put something together. So as you can tell, I always like to put that finished edge over top. And I know I should probably do it the opposite way, but I'm just right-handed, and this is the way my brain works for some reason. And so that's what I do. Everybody's different, right? So, okay, so I'm going to keep doing this, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we have the blue done. So now we need purple in the middle. Now this is where you could add more petals if you wanted to. You could do all sorts of things. I'm going to show you how to make a rose center with poly burlap, and we're going to cut a 36-inch piece of the 10-inch poly burlap here. So I have my poly burlap, and I'm just going to cut a 36-inch piece here. Let's get this. Just cut it, and then it's about 36 inches. Okay, so I'm going to just cut it right there. All right. So at this point, what do we do next, Julie? Well, you're going to take it and you're going to fold inside once, okay? And then you're going to fold the other side in. You're going to kind of meet it in the middle there. All right, and then we're going to fold it over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a clip here, and I'm going to hold the clip. The clip is going to help hold this together. You could put some dabs of glue, and I'll just put a little bit of a dab of glue. I don't want too much because I don't want the glue to come through. Okay, but it might help this stay together just a little bit for you. All right, so 36 inches, a yard, whatever you like to call it. Whoops. All right. And I've showed how to make a rose center out of burlap before, and I thought, you know what, I want to do this, but I want to do it with the poly burlap. Okay, so I'm going to take this. We've got that edge. We're going to put it over there. So let's go ahead and cut this. It's a nice mess there. So we're going to take it and we're going to make a layover there with a triangle, okay? So you're just going to bend it over once, all right? Then you're going to kind of roll it together. Now this is where I'm going to take a little bit of glue because I do want this to kind of stick together here. Glue gun is not plugged in. So I'm going to just roll this in, okay? And I'm going to make it. So that's the center of our bud, okay? We just made that. So pull it off. Let me make sure my glue gun is plugged in over here. Okay, so once you've got that rolled in, so 1, 2 rolls in there, you're going to take your burlap and you're going to bend it back, okay? So you're just going to bend it back like that. So you've got your roll. Now bend it back and then wrap, okay? That's what you're going to do. That's the standard for a rose. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue in between here just to add. Okay. All right. And I'm just going to keep doing the same process. I'm going to bend back and then I'm going to roll it around. All right. Take this and I'm going to put it down there. You just bend back and then you roll it, okay? Or you wrap it. And you can just add a little bit of glue. Okay, so we had to take a little pause because my glue gun died, the one I've had for like 3.5 years. I'm kind of sad. Either that or a fuse, I'm not sure. So we're gonna keep going here. We're just gonna keep, remember you're just bending backwards here. See that process? You're bending backwards, you're bending away from you, and then you're just gonna wrap, okay? So bend, wrap, maybe add a little bit of glue. So I've got out my old glue gun here. All right, and then I'm going to move these down a little bit. Kind of helps, just helps hold it all together, okay? So again, we're going to bend it back and then we're just going to wrap, and it's just going to keep making that rose. You can do this with ribbon, you can do this with burlap, you could do this with Deco mesh if you wanted to tackle that. But I just wanted to show you it's just an easy way, and I've been doing a rose like this forever. This is the first time I've used it with the poly burlap like this, but I'm really liking the look. So we're just going to wrap. I'm going to add just a dab of glue. And don't worry, we're going to add some wire. Oops. We're going to add some wire in the middle of this to kind of help keep it all together as well. I'm not counting on just the glue alone here. All right, just move that down. I'm going to wrap, just bend back and then wrap. All right, got a little bit of glue there. And you need to watch your fingers because this, you know, of course it could get in between there and burn you. So be really careful. Make sure you're not putting your hand right there, okay? So we're getting towards the end and we don't really need this to be that long. Move this down a little bit and just bend back and wrap. All right, so this is going to be the last time we wrap. All right, and then I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to take this off, and then we're going to go like this. All right, so we're going to bend it backwards, and I'm going to take a zip tie and attach it to this itself, and we can take some zip ties behind it. Okay, so I think that's good. So I'm just going to bend that back, okay? Going to kind of look with my rose here. I'm going to take a zip tie and I'm going to go through a few of the different parts or the layers of this poly burlap, okay? So I'm basically going all the way through that center there. It really doesn't take too much time to do this either. All right, so let's just kind of move it around, kind of get it. And then this is where you could add a little bit more glue here and there. So I'm going to cut this, I'm going to bend this back and secure it with another zip tie here. Or wire, you could use wire, would be just as well. All right. So I'm going to just take a piece of wire here. I don't know if you can see that. And I'm just going to take it and we're going to go through the center. All right, so we got the wire through one in there. So it's come through there. So I'm going to go through, and I'm going to try to go through several layers at once. Okay. So as you can see, I went through that last layer as well. All right, I'm going to pull that, good. And then I'm going to twist it. All right. So now we're ready to put it in our wreath. Do you like it? All right, so now we have our little rosette, and you could put this in any of the sunflower wreaths, daisy wreaths. You could use the center for something else. So just keep in mind the center for maybe something else. So we're just gonna poke it through the center here. And because we have lots of layers of poly burlap, you're probably gonna have to kind of fight with it just a little bit. Here, let's see if it'll go through there. All right, got one down. Okay, got the other one. And I'm just going to pull that really good. And then I'm just going to go on the back here and twist and tie. And so on the back of this wreath, I will just take a piece of felt. Oh, let's see here. I will just take a piece of felt and put it on the back, okay? So I'm not going to go through that right now, but you'll just take the little zip ties and you will poke holes in your felt, and then you will just put it in the back. All right. And then just poke that wire back into that mesh. Okay. Just kind of look at it. All right. Well, I think that looks really cute. And I hope you enjoyed it. You know, there's always fluffing to do, but this could easily go between a storm door and a regular door, but at the same time, it's poly burlap. You could hang this on the outside, maybe spray it with Rust-Oleum clear matte acrylic spray, and then that will reduce the fading. It probably won't take it away completely, but it would help with that. But if you made it this far, would you please leave me a rainbow of some sort in the comments? We are having such a hard time trying to get through this, and there's so many people who are suffering, and people are trying to social distance, and I just thought, let's look beyond, and there's got to be a rainbow at the end. So I hope you enjoyed this. Join my groups on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, follow me here on YouTube, and we will see you next time on Julie's Wreath Boutique.